Today I'll talk about my family. Let's start with my mother. They say that the first thing you say, your parents tell you, will sort of define your life. The first question my mother asked the nurse after I was born was, how much bigger is she than average? Competitive even from the very start, I see. When I was very young, I hated the fact that my mother was a tiger mom. The scariest part of having such a mom was popular book fairs. You might be thinking, oh, okay, your mother bought a lot of exercise books. What's the big deal? Well, you're wrong, because the scariest part about popular book fairs were the feng shui books. So if you don't know what feng shui is, you're lucky. The feng shui definition from Wikipedia is the Chinese art of harmonizing everyone with the surrounding environment. Personally, it means shifting the table 45 degrees east every year to avoid the animal of the year. A few years back, being a student of science, I decided to give those books a try, right? You need to give them opportunity to shine. So I flipped open a book, and the first line I saw on the book was, turn the chair 360 degrees to avoid the elements of fire. 360 degrees. Is that why ballerinas twirl so much? Elements of fire are onto them. Okay, so clearly feng shui books are the most scientific pieces of work we can find around, but then again, neither are our written reports, right? My mother is the kind of person who would share the most trivial details about my life with my neighbors. When I was younger, I hated it, and I think Asians in general can identify with this. So when you happily walk home after a long day of school, you want to go home and relax, and then there's this huge gathering of people in your house. And it's like some kind of council, and they are sitting in a semicircle, and all of them know who you are, but you have no idea who they are. And they are just there questioning you like you're some prisoner of war. And every nerve in your body is screaming, run! But you have to stay still because you know you will never hear the end of it if you ran. So looking back, I think that's quite a smart strategy to have as parents. Think about it. Normally you have 2 adults to take care of 1 child. Now you have the entire neighborhood. That's the true kampong spirit, right? I hated going shopping as a kid. To some people, shopping with my parents may bring back fond memories of eating ice cream together, or I don't know. I really don't know. To me, it meant a free lecture. It's one of the few things that are free that you really don't want. So did you know that Barbie is actually called Barbara Millicent Roberts? Did you know that Play-Doh was initially used to clean wallpaper? Did you know that Toys R Us is not grammatically correct as a name? I wish I didn't know all of that. And if you think that is bad, then the story about my dad is going to be aggravating. So let's talk about my dad now. If I ask all of you to imagine being in an aeroplane, many of you will start feeling nauseated or claustrophobic. And that's normal. Now, imagine all of that. Plus, you're having a 5-hour walkthrough on the physics of flight. You guys are like frowning like, oh my, no, not the physics of flight. No, but you don't understand. I learned about the 9/11 attacks on the plane. Yes, no, not my plane. Thankfully. Oh, and did I mention that the suitcase in the overhead cabin is stuffed to the brim with exercise books from the popular book fair? So both my grandparents are specialists in physics. My entire family is really physics related. So my paternal grandfather, for example, used to be the head architect of submarines. And he tried to explain the concept to me about submarines once. And he went something like this. Hey, I used to design submarines. What are those? Well, you know, ships, but they sink. So basically, badly designed ships. No, they're used for fighting. You know, we have to calculate how deep they sink. It's a lot of math and physics related. I don't think you need to calculate it. I can design it too. It's really simple. My dad followed in the footsteps of my grandfather, and he became a naval architect. And he's really good because not a single sailor that returned reported that they drowned. Think about that. How good is that? Jokes aside, my dad is probably the best physicist I have ever known. He had great dreams for me too. He wanted me to be an aerospace engineer. But to be honest, I'll probably suck at the job. I mean, if I made a mistake in ship design, at least I can say it's a submarine. What am I going I made a mistake in a plane design. Oh no, this is a UFO. It's going down and passengers are screaming, but that's a common feature of aliens. Do you know that there are more airplanes in the sea than submarines in the sky?
Wow. That blew my mind for a moment.
I was like, wow, that's a legit fact.
My grandmother seemed to be the only one who disliked the idea of me going to a career of science. She used to say that I was an evil lawyer. Isn't saying much because evil lawyer usually goes together. That's how you describe lawyers, they're evil. It's like repeating the adjective twice. It's like saying kiasu Singaporean or thinker, leader, pioneer, or Raffles institution, right? Because the inherent assumption is that all the lawyers are evil and all Singaporeans are kiasu and all Rafflesians are. Okay, let's go on. My dream job when I was young was to be a judge. Maybe that's why I joined Gavel, because I wanted to continue the dream, bang the hammer on the table. It's so fun. I mean, I think I would nail it. I think that the reason I wanted to be a judge so bad is because it's different. Because my entire family has such physics-related, science-related careers that every part of me ached to break the tradition and stick out like a sore thumb. It's child psychology in a way. Because when you grow up being exposed to so much of the same thing, you learn to like it. But a part of you also wishes that you were something else. Science is great because it feeds your curiosity and it answers questions in the most straightforward fashion you can have. But feng shui entertains the unknown. It tells you that it's possible to change your life, no matter how impossible it seems. It assures you that things are not working out, not because you're not good enough, but because something on your table is not placed right. In a way, the first question my mother asked did define my life. I have tried so hard to be more than average. Sometimes a bit too hard. But success builds upon itself, such that it becomes so hard, so difficult to relinquish it. I guess the 5-hour flights come physics lecture wouldn't have been that terrible if I hadn't tried so hard to understand every part of it. As competitive as my parents are, I was usually the one giving myself a hard time. And I guess this is very timely after your promo grades. Mm-hmm. So, a final piece of advice for all of you who are feeling bad. Don't treat yourself like pond water, because you're Fiji water. Thank you.
Yay!